welcome back to my channel. Earlier I was on Instagram scrolling, and shout out to Crazy Train 1 on Instagram. She shared an update on Dylan, and apparently he was arrested yesterday, and it shows that he's currently in jail and he's being held on no bond right now. So it looks like he might be in there for a hot minute if he's not getting any kind of bond. I'm not sure when his next court date is. There's no other details on why he was arrested, but I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on that. And now let's talk about Heather's. I'm not going to lie, I was becoming really frustrated with her content because, she had her baby. Then she ended up losing custody of her baby, her son Weston. And then after she lost custody, she was able to get into like this temporary homeless shelter, and they ended up eventually putting her in a hotel. And I'm not sure how long her and Xavier are supposed to be living in this hotel for, but they're staying like in a nice, what appears like a nice 5-star hotel that has turned into a temporary homeless shelter. I thought they were just going to stay there till till the cold weather went away, but they're still there at this time, so I'm not sure how long they're supposed to be there in total. But, I just got annoyed with all the mom content after she had her son. It's like, here you are trying to be a mommy vlogger, yet you don't have custody of one single child. And then I was really frustrated because every time I looked at her profile, it was her visiting her son that she just lost with her, her breastfeeding him. I guess that's the most appropriate way to say it. And it just seemed inappropriate because it's like, this is the only time you see him and you're going to post these pictures of him. And I just don't like what she's doing. So I've been a little annoyed and just taking a step back from Heather. But I recently started like watching her here and there again recently. And this girl's got some nerve, let me tell you. Like, she was on a whole rant the other day because she wanted $100 to get a new breast pump, even though her other breast pump hadn't even broke yet. But she showed videos of it kind of like making weird noises, so she wanted to have a backup pump, so she wanted $100. And she got like $65 out of $100, and she still needs $35 left for nursing bags to put her milk in. And she's trying to get the rest of her phone bill paid. But people are also pointing out she also said she needed to pay her phone bill 2 weeks ago, and now suddenly she has to pay her phone bill again. And she has literally been relying heavily on the donations of everybody, like literally milking it every single day. It used to be like Heather would post all these stories, her day-to-day life, and then she would, maybe sprinkle in like one slide here and there with her CASHAPP. Now she's became real bold about it. She will get on her CASHAPP literally every single day. There's a different fundraiser every single day. And she's meeting these fundraisers. Like, I cannot believe she's been able to maintain living off the donations of her followers on Instagram for so long. And for a while, people said they're reporting her. And there's even a signature thing. Let me see. I'll see if I can pull it up. But there's this thing, like, I think it's a change.org petition or some kind of petition where they are trying to get signatures. I think they're almost at like 1,000 signatures to try to remove Heather's CASHAPP because she has continuously been reported for scamming people just because she's choosing to make a living off CASHAPP, and people feel like she's not being honest. Like when her daughter exposed her when Heather claimed she was raising money for her prom tickets, and the daughter was like, guys, don't bother because the money's not going to come to me. It never comes to me. Like when she claims like the whole glasses with her daughter thing, and the daughter said it just really low-key embarrassed her. So she thought, I think she lost her CASHAPP or a shadow ban for a few days after so many people reported it. And for days, she was like going off because nobody was sending her any donations. And Heather doesn't know what to do because usually every day she easily gets donations. And she's even admitted it's like adrenaline rush for her when she hears that CASHAPP noise go off on her phone knowing there's money in her Cash App account, and she was going days without no donations. Like, we're still at 0 out of 100. It seemed like all her stories became just her asking where her sponsors are at. And people believe that her account was shadow banned because people try to look and see if they could send her money just to see if her Cash App is working. And several people allegedly claim that it was showing that, sorry, my cat will not stop meowing. I'm sorry. People said that they allegedly couldn't send her money for a few days, but it looks like she's able to get money again because she's been out here thanking people for their donation. So let's look at what Heather has been doing today. She's back at another fundraiser that said Google cyber stalking. When I first read that, I'm like, why is she taking a course on cyber stalking? Okay, so she's like, we are $35 from the goal. And she's been begging people over and over again. Like, literally every other post is asking for more money. Please send the remaining money for the phone, breast milk bags, and underwear. And she keeps saying she needs clothes, but that's what she's been having. She's had multiple fundraisers throughout these past few months raising money for clothes. She says, I need nursing bags and my phone bill money. This is redundant and, ABUSIVE. I can't say the word for YouTube guidelines, but this is what she's got to say.
Hi, sponsors. So the last, 2 months, it's been very difficult. It's taken a lot of effort, multiple days, a lot of redundancy.
A lot of effort. She's been sitting in her hotel room watching cartoons all day and posting on Instagram and pumping. Like, the most this lady has to do every day is pump. Which, that can be exhausting, but she doesn't have to work. Like, it's hard for me to feel bad for someone like her when she doesn't do anything while other people out here had to work their butts off.
And numerous requests. I don't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy being a single mother in school full-time, working full-time, and, doing everything on my own, but I did it and I made it through so that I wouldn't.
Okay, but you don't even have custody of your kids anymore.
Be in situations like this. And so what I'm asking is that rather than punishing me for whatever's going on here, we all just come together and find a solution. If you wouldn't want to be where I'm sitting, do something about it.
But she has been, people have been taking care of her for months, years. Why am I saying months? It's been years. I can't remember the last job that Heather had since being on the show. I think she might have worked at a gym for a little bit and she did DoorDash. But since her doing the DoorDash and her driving around getting pancakes from IHOP and while she was allegedly doing Duster, that's been since 2021. So it's been a good 3 years since she's had a job. And people have been coming together for her every single day.
The hope is when you're putting yourself through that intense amount of stress, working around the clock, barely sleeping so that you can make a better future, is that you will never have to be begging people, strangers online for enough money to pay your phone bill. So that you will never be in a position with the United States government that you're not legally permitted to discuss. So that you will never be having your neck so stomped on that you cannot breathe. But here we are, and so that's the syntax error that I keep discussing. I went to school. I send out my resume regularly. I've applied at McDonald's. I've applied at Starbucks. I've applied for 6-figure incomes. And I've worked in a 6-figure annual salary job before. Commission job before. I worked at Northwestern Hospital for many years. I've proven myself time and time and time.
At this point, it doesn't even really... I don't even yes, she may have worked at the hospital years ago, but apparently she only did paperwork, people were saying. I don't know how true that is, but people were saying that she makes herself sound like she was bigger than what she was in the hospital. But that has been years. That's been since the 2000s that she last did that. literally the 2000s. I think it was like the late 2000s or around 2010, 2012. Like she even posted her resume on the resume Reddit group, and she's asking people for their opinions, and people are like, your resume sucks straight up. They're like, you need to just scrap it. There's no point bringing up jobs from 10, 20 years ago. And they're saying, people just, they have to go through so many resumes a day. They don't want to read through all this stuff. And especially with her, what else did they say? Yeah, they're like, don't bring up jobs from like 20 years ago. And they're saying your resume is a major red flag because the last time you worked was over 10 years ago. And that was like the last time she worked was like 2014, I think it said on there. Besides, like, she had small jobs here and there, but they weren't long. And she was trying to say, like, her most recent job is running her production company, which is technically just really her going on Instagram and YouTube live and going on her Instagram stories and begging for money from her sponsors every single day.
And time again, but here we are every single month, and it's like I'm reduced to this, which is that for a reason I'm not permitted to discuss, rather than being in receipt of welfare and being in my own home with my newborn, I'm sitting here.
I know, but you are in a hotel that is coming out of taxpayers' dollars. Like, she is so ungrateful. And, here's the thing. I'm all for helping people. We all get down on hard times. People go through things, and sometimes they just need a helping hand. But the thing is, if someone goes years and they ain't doing anything to change their life, I feel like, I'm all for like giving people shelter maybe for a month here, 2 months here. But if you don't get a job within a few months and you're not helping contribute, then I feel like it's not fair for them to have a place. I mean, people out here, we have to work our butts off to have a place to contribute to if we want a roof over our head. And it's not fair that, she gets it and she can just scroll online and beg for money all day.
Prevented from earning my own income, separated from my family still, having no criminal background, having no, record in any kind.
Okay, that's a lie.
Being forced to take.
She was caught allegedly with cocaine years ago.
And having to ask the sponsors over and over and over again for enough money to cover the cost for nursing bags for my breast milk so I could transport it to my child, and my phone bill to be paid so I can continue to stay in contact with these court people. What do you guys want from me? Why do you keep making me go through this?
Nobody's making you
go like I was just
but yourself. Oh my gosh, this is so triggering. Nobody is making you go through this but yourself. I don't buy that she's applied at McDonald's, and maybe she did. She maybe tried to apply as like maybe she tried to apply for regional manager or something with like no manager experience. But I want to see, like, if you're on Indeed, when you apply for jobs, you get emails that say, oh, you just applied for this job. Your resume has been submitted to this job. Your application has been submitted to this job. I want to see the receipts because I'm not buying that she is trying to apply for fast food. She just wants a job that's going to give. I feel like that's why she posts her resume so much. I think when Heather says she's looking for jobs, it's not her actually applying for places. It's her posting her resume to her Instagram stories and then not responding when people DM her about jobs. Unless I think she's just waiting for that one person to say, oh, yeah, I'll give you $100K a year just for you to sit on your butt and, do this stuff that you claim you do, like with your production company, because that's what she said her dream is.
Xavier, yeah, it's great to have a positive mindset and all, but it's also great to advocate for yourself. It's also great to call people out when you're being abused. It's also great to recognize when your human rights are being violated and say, hey, what's going on here? Can others look at my situation and tell me, am I wrong for feeling this way, and validate your feelings? So while I do agree that we should be positive and grateful and thank God for things, this is not any way that any human should be living. No human being should be subjected to not having enough, period. We live in an abundant society with enough food and enough transportation. We have cars, so many cars. Look at how many lots we have filled with cars that no one uses. But we still have people.
Because people have to work for those things. Why should you get everything for free while everyone else has to work their butts off for what they have? I can't even listen to what she has to say on that. Like, that's what I get so annoyed with what she has to say lately.
People who don't have clothing. I myself personally have worked my entire life. My parents would give me a gift at Christmas, something modest, maybe like 3 designer outfits. And when I say designer, I mean like BB, something from Von Maur, Macy's, higher quality, maybe 3 outfits a year. And I would treat them with such care and respect, and then fill in my wardrobe with like Target clothes or, stuff off of Amazon more recently, or, non-designer stuff, no name brand stuff. And I would take very, very good care of it. And I would respect my belongings, and I would be very grateful to have them.
And where's all your stuff now?
Everything has been taken from me, unlawfully at that, and with no response. So I'm sitting here day after day with the best positive attitude I can possibly have.
Well, it's also like, Heather's not the only person that's had to start over before. You know how many times when I was on drugs due to my own decisions, I lost everything and would go to jail and come out with nothing but the clothes on my back. But you got to work back for what you have. And, there's a lot of resources out there too. And I know for a fact because I used to take advantage of a lot of them. And how many fundraisers has she had for clothing now? Every single month she has multiple fundraisers and earns money from people. I think the last fundraiser for clothing, though, didn't go over as well either as they normally do, because I think people are just getting sick of it.
While also not allowing them to gaslight me into thinking that the situation is legal or acceptable. It's not. Nothing about it is. Nothing about it is. When they destroyed my apartment and everything in it, they took my baby books for my children. They took my furniture. They took my clothing, my photo albums, my memories, my life. My life, the things that I worked for. I've been in the workforce since I was 15 years old. 15. I have been through it all. I have been human trafficked. I have been stabbed.
Okay, I can't. How long does she go on with this? I don't even think I can listen to the whole thing because I'm getting a headache. It's just hard for me to feel bad for her at all.
So, with no criminal record.
Okay, that's a lie.
And then we take it a step further. And even if I was someone, which I'm not, who had done something to disqualify them from earning their own income, we walk. And with that being said, then I truthfully wonder if I will ever, find my way, because I don't think I'm ever going
to. Been a few years.
Believe that people deserve to be treated this way. It takes a weak, sad man. You got to be the saddest, weakest person to feel better because someone else doesn't look as good as you, smell as good as you, is not as strong.
Just with the manipulation. If any of us just sat on our behinds and just sat on Instagram all day, then we wouldn't have what we have either. I almost wonder, I'm not a doctor or anything, but, I used to have this problem, and I know it's a problem with people who take ADHD medicine. It's sometimes they take too much or they're misdiagnosed. I do believe she has ADHD. Maybe she's taking too much of it, because I used to take it and it would make me worse instead of better. It would make me hyper focus on one little thing to where I just obsessed over that. And that's all I could focus on. I couldn't focus on anything else. And I would become obsessed with these things. And it wasn't healthy. And it was to where I couldn't get anything else done. And I see a lot of that with Heather, with what she's doing. She hyper focuses on these things like her website or this production company or, stuff that isn't paying the bills right now and ignores all the real priorities.
Strong as you, where do they make all these haters at? Where do these haters come from? Can we send them back in bulk to scale wherever they came from? If I see someone with a shopping bag, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could have went shopping with them. Never once do I think, well, they shouldn't be able to go shopping. Never. I think we should all be able to go shopping.
Okay.
And let's please continue to teach the terms gaslight and scapegoat, because there are so many times.
Yeah, because that's exactly what you're doing to me right now. Heather is gaslighting me. I feel gaslit. Here's her again posting someone saying, oh, Heather is a great worker. But this is a letter of recommendation from 2012. That is almost 13 years ago, ma'am. Someone wants a letter of recommendation from a recent job, not a job that you worked over a decade ago. And people even question, is this even real? It kind of sounds like Heather or Chat GPT. And here's another letter of recommendation from 2012. Ma'am, do you have any from, the past 5 years? Okay, so after her whole spiel, she goes, sponsors, we're still $35 short of the goal. Any amount is helpful, even just $1, and sign up takes less than 2 minutes.
We are still at...
She's got 3 hours later. She hasn't got her money yet. Her Cash App hasn't got off. She hasn't heard this sweet noise of her Cash App notification in her ear. So she has to ask her sponsors, where you at?
35 out of 65
Somebody has donated money in 3 whole hours. Where you at?
Received 35 left out of 100 for the goal. Please, you guys, anything helps. $1, $5, $10, $20, $35, $1,000.
Oh, hell no.
And Cash App's limits are $4,000 a week. So if you're feeling extra generous, $4,000. Click the link.
In case anybody was wondering, because I'm sure people are just got $4,000 they're keeping around. They just got ready to send to Heather. But that is it for this video, guys. Like I said, this girl is giving me a headache. I don't know how much longer I can get into this, because she's just so frustrating. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that, like Heather said, people should just be able to have what they want when they want, not have to work for it? Do you think Heather's looking for a job? But that is it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.